Welcome to my English storybook, where every story speaks to the heart. Today, we bring you a deeply emotional tale of love, loss, and memories that linger, long after goodbye. A story called When We Were Us. The soft chime of the bell above the door pierced the cozy hum of chatter inside Mellow Brew's cafe. Arian paused just inside the entrance, eyes adjusting to the dim lighting and the aroma of espresso thick in the air. The place hadn't changed. Still the same warm lights, the wooden furniture with scuff marks from years of conversations, and the chalkboard menu with Mira's favorite drink still listed: caramel latte, extra foam, 1 sugar, and there she was, sitting at the window seat where the late afternoon sun cast golden rays over her hair. She wore a light blue cardigan, the same shade she had on during their first date. Time hadn't dimmed her elegance. If anything, it had made her even more achingly beautiful. But there was a weariness in her eyes that he hadn't seen before. He approached slowly, each step feeling heavier with memories. "Hey," he said, voice softer than he intended. Mira looked up. For a moment, neither spoke. "Hey," she replied, her smile gentle, uncertain. Between them sat a cardboard box, plain, taped around the edges, but it might as well have been Pandora's box, containing the echoes of a love story that ended too soon. Arian sat, his hands nervously tapping the table. He glanced at the box, then back at Mira. She seemed calm. Too calm, as if she'd rehearsed this moment 1,000 times in her head. "You brought it," he said, gesturing to the box. "I thought it was time." He nodded, though he wasn't sure he agreed. Was there ever a good time to reopen old wounds? She lifted the lid. Inside, memories sat untouched. Photos, concert tickets, letters, postcards, even an old guitar pick on a chain. His guitar pick. The one she used to wear like a charm around her neck. "Wow," he whispered, picking it up. "You kept this." "Of course," she said, eyes on the pick. "It was the first thing you ever gave me." A silence fell over them. Not awkward, just heavy, like the air itself was filled with the weight of their past. He turned over a photo in his hand. It was them at the beach, both drenched from the rain, laughing like children. The image jolted a memory to life. "You remember that storm?" Mira chuckled. "You tried to make a shelter out of driftwood and a towel. You said it looked like a sea monster. And then we danced in the rain because we had no other choice." He smiled, the warmth of that day creeping back. Those were the days before ambition, before arguments about careers, before distance. Flashbacks flickered like film reel in his mind. Late-night calls with Mira half asleep on the other end. The first time she sang for him. The day he surprised her with a candlelit dinner after her big presentation. "Why do memories hurt more when they're good?" he asked, mostly to himself. "Because we know we can't live them again," Mira replied. He reached for a letter folded neatly at the bottom. His handwriting. He remembered writing it on a train to Mumbai, the beginning of his business trips. "You were pulling away even then," she said quietly. "I didn't know how to balance both." "I didn't ask you to choose," she said. "But I needed to feel like I mattered." "You did. You always did. Not more than your meetings. Not more than your goals." There it was. The honesty. Raw. It didn't sound like blame, just truth. He looked at her. I was scared. Of failing. Of not becoming the man I told you I would be. I never needed you to be anything more than who you already were. More letters. Notes passed in class. One, folded into a star, said, "Marry me in 10 years?" She smiled as he read it. You actually carried this in your wallet for 2 years. I still have your reply, he said, and from his pocket, he took out a folded note. It read, "Only if you cook breakfast on Sundays." A laugh escaped her lips, followed by a pause. Why didn't we call? She asked. All those nights, all those chances. I tried, so many times. I'd type out a message, but I didn't know what to say. I called once. Your number had changed. I was ashamed of how we ended. I didn't want you to think I moved on easily. Did you? No? She nodded, as if that answer both hurt and healed. As the sun dipped lower, the golden glow turned amber. Mira grew quieter. Her hands, once steady, now trembled slightly. He noticed. You okay? She hesitated, then nodded, but her silence stretched too long. Mira. I didn't bring the box just for closure. He leaned in. Then why? She finally met his eyes. I'm dying, Arian. The words shattered something inside him. What? Stage 4 leukemia. Diagnosed 6 months ago. I didn't want you to come back out of sympathy. I didn't want to be a charity. He reached across the table, took her hand. It was colder than he remembered. You think I'd walk away again? I wasn't sure you'd come back at all. He swallowed hard, fighting tears. Then let me stay now, for however long you have left. What followed was a second chapter, different but no less beautiful. Hospital corridors replaced beaches. Laughter echoed in quieter tones. There were no grand plans, just present moments. Arian read to her every night. She taught him how to cook properly, even from a hospital bed. He took her for short drives, played her favorite songs, and let her nap on his shoulder like old times. She started writing again. Journals filled with memories, sketches, letters she knew she wouldn't send. Some nights she'd ask, "Do you regret coming back?" Every time he'd answer the same way. Never. One morning, she didn't wake. She passed peacefully, sunlight touching her face through the open window. Her hand still held his. Arian sat there for hours, unable to let go. Finally, he noticed a letter on the side table. Addressed to him. He opened it. Thank you for coming back. Not to fix the past, but to give it a beautiful ending. You were my once in a lifetime, and I leave with no regrets. Her words stayed with him. In the silence that followed her passing, he felt her presence in every moment, every morning light, every old song, every cup of caramel latte. Weeks later, Arian returned to Mellow Brew's cafe. The same seat, the same table. The box was with him, now sealed again, taped carefully. Inside, her story, their story. He left it on the table, a note on top. To whoever finds this, may you love bravely and part kindly. This was our story, when we were us, He walked out, as the bell above the door chimed gently behind him. Back at home, Arian transformed her journals into something living. He started a blog titled Letters from Mira, sharing her writings anonymously. It resonated. Strangers from all walks of life responded, finding pieces of themselves in her voice. One post went viral, The Last Sunrise, a short essay she wrote about watching the dawn from a hospital bed. It spoke of gratitude, of pain turned into purpose, of loving someone even when life doesn't give you a forever. Soon, readers began writing back. Some found the courage to confess love. Others found closure for relationships long gone. Her words healed others the way her presence healed him, and every reply reminded Arian that Mira wasn't gone. She had simply become timeless. Arian visited the university campus where they met. The benches looked smaller now, the trees taller. He sat where she used to sing for the drama club, playing her favorite song on a portable speaker. As the melody filled the air, students paused, some smiling, some just curious. One girl asked, "Was that you singing on the blog video?" He shook his head. "It was someone I loved. She taught me how to listen." Months passed. Arian was invited to speak at a small literary festival. He told their story, not just as a love tale, but as a lesson in timing, in healing, in the power of unfinished dreams. After his talk, a woman approached him. She held a worn copy of Mira's printed letters. "Your story saved my life," she whispered. "I was going to give up, but she gave me hope." Arian smiled, his eyes glistening. She always wanted to be remembered for her words. Now she'll never be forgotten. Years later, Arian stood by a small tree planted in Mira's name in the city park. Children laughed nearby, lovers held hands, and the world moved on. But not without her. He touched the bark gently, whispering, "When we were us, we were everything." And in that whisper, in that memory, in the stillness of the air, she lived on. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my English storybook.